Okay, so kia ora tātou, ko Carolyn Simmons hao no tamaki makaro e noho ana I anai nei, ko Kaitohutohu Ngaio tangata Tiriti I te puari te mahi. I'm here today with the awesome Daniel Sutton. For those of you who don't know Dan, he is a kaiwhakaorangangahau occupational therapist with a passion for supporting mental well-being in individuals and communities. And Dan's research has focused on living well through meaningful activities, sensory strategies, and social inclusion. And he is an associate professor at AUT. So nā mai, haere mai Dan, ngā mihi nui kia koe. Thank you so much for joining us on the National Hui and being interviewed as part of our Kowai Tātou series in the lead up to the World Occupational Therapy Day in October. So welcome.
Kia ora, Carolyn. Lovely to be here with you.
All right, so I've got some questions. So perhaps to start, a good place to start would be, could you tell me a little bit about your who you are and your whakapapa?
Kia ora. Ko Ngaio, ko Pennines, te maunga, ko Derwent, te awa, no Inarangi, no Airani, ahau, ko Sutton, ko Kingslake, te whānau, me te wānanga aranui o Tamaki Makaurau e mahi ana, ko Daniel Sutton, taku ingoa. My name's Daniel, hail from England, Ireland, and a bit of Scottish in there in my ancestry as well. And I was born in England, born in Essex actually, but grew up in the north a bit in Accrington until I was about 8, then moved to Tamaki Makaurau, grew up in East Auckland, sort of Penrose, Mount Wellington area. Now I live on the North Shore with my wife and 2 teenage daughters and work at AUT. I'm associate professor, as you said, in the School of Clinical Sciences. I based within the Occupational Science and Therapy Department here at AUT. And I've been here quite a while, for 25 years, since 1999. So this has been a big part of my career as an occupational therapist.
Thank you for that, Dan. I didn't know that you were born in England.
I was, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a Pom.
You're a Pom. But you're a Kiwi now. You're a
absolutely.
And more importantly, I know that you are Tangata Tiriti. And I'm sure that a lot of people will identify with aspects of your whakapapa as well. So thank you for that.
Sure.
I'm just wondering, perhaps a good place to start is I'm actually curious about what motivated you to become a kai whakaorangangahau. So could you share a little bit about that with us?
Well, when I left school, I didn't know what I wanted to do really. I knew I wanted to do something creative. That was part of my passion, and enjoyed art at school. But I also wanted to do something that was useful and could serve others in some way, give back, I guess. I was brought up in a church environment where kind of being of use and giving back was part of the culture. But I didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do. So I applied for physio, I applied for psychology, I applied for art school. Didn't get into physio or art school, so I did psychology for a couple of years at Auckland and at Waikato University. Then I went in on an OE, and while I was on my OE traveling, I heard about occupational therapy, and I thought, that kind of combines my interest, because through psychology I gained an interest in sort of mental health and how people think and behave and what shapes behavior and thinking. And I thought this occupational therapy sounds like it might combine my interest in psychology as well as sort of more creative pursuits. Because I guess I had in my mind that it used art and other creative occupations as part of the therapy at that stage. And so, I applied, still not really knowing a lot about occupational therapy, but I think it was driven by my interest in creativity and being of service and sort of being useful in the world. Yeah.
Cool. So thank you for choosing kai whakaoranga as your mahi. Would you choose it again, Dan, if you
Mm.
were to choose to?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was glad I didn't get into art school and didn't get into physio now, because I think I've been able to use my creativity in different ways, but in a way that I guess, yeah, can make a real difference. Not that art can't, that you can't through fine art,
Yes.
but in a way that makes a difference to people, and people's lives. Um, and and in terms of physiotherapy, it kind of feels a bit too restricted for me. I like the fact that as a kai whakaora nanaho, I can zoom into that physiology anatomy, but also zoom out to the wider social cultural context and
Mm,
understand people
mm,
in societal at a societal and community level,
mm,
and consider more of the psychosocial aspects of
mm,
well-being as well as the physical. So
mm.
I like the breadth of occupational therapy, as well.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. I was just wondering, along your career journey, were there any major key steps or pivotal moments that you took to get you to where you are today?
There was probably quite a few. I would say one of the first was having my last placement on Waiheke Island in the Haureki Gulf, at a residential service, the Wish Trust. I had a really lovely, wonderful supervisor, Mary Hamilton. Some may remember Mary.
Yes.
Um, and She really inspired me through her supervision, but I also had a great manager who was a nurse,
Mm,
and he really supported me, believed in me, and encouraged me to use my strengths to influence not only working with individuals, but the whole service and the service model. So after that last placement, I was offered a job at Wish Trust, and Mike really took me under his wing and allowed me to kind of step into leadership positions and take responsibility for training
mm,
staff and shaping the service delivery model
yeah.
there,
Yeah.
which was wonderful. So I think that kind of set me off on a kind of, I guess you'd say, a leadership kind of
Yeah.
trajectory around teaching and developing of services. And then probably another milestone was moving into education when I joined AUT during my 20s, and sort of, yeah, went down the path of teaching and learning and research. And so that was quite a significant milestone. The wonderful Matthias
Yes.
Lucasen highlighted that there was
Yes.
a job going at AUT, and I'd never thought about going into education, but I thought I'll throw my hat in the ring, and amazingly, I got the position, and that took me down a path that I'm still on
Yeah.
of learning and development, learning and growth, ongoing and research as well, generating new
Yeah.
knowledge,
Mm,
which has been fantastic. And so doing my PhD, I guess, is another milestone around, and that from
mm,
that, I really appreciated the power of an occupational lens, the
mm,
importance of understanding lived experience,
mm,
and really listening to the expertise that people who've been through recovery journeys have got to share,
mm.
and incorporating that into our practice. Um, and then a couple of other probably milestones has been being approached by Te Po to lead or help lead the sensory modulation rollout.
Yeah.
So the pilot study back in 2010, I think, and then sort of ongoing research around sensory modulation and developing service
Yeah.
delivery and mental health, and then securing the contract for providing the new graduate program. So their passion for supporting our new professionals, not just occupational therapists, but we have social work and nursing. So that interprofessional practice, I
Yes.
think, has been a real interest and passion, and supporting our new clinicians to transition into complex and stressful workplaces often in
Mm,
mental health and addictions.
mm.
Yeah, so it's ongoing. That's what I love about this career as an occupational therapist, and in education. You never stop learning, you never
Yes.
stop growing and developing.
Yeah.
There's always something more to
Yeah.
do.
That's fabulous. And you're also now an associate professor as well. So down the
Mm.
line you'll become a professor as well. So we do need to honour you as the profession for being one of our academic greats, and yeah, for all that you have contributed back to the profession. And I loved that you were talking about it's about the people that you meet along the way,
Mm.
and the opportunities that present to you, but then that you take those opportunities and make those choices.
Mm.
And you also talked about it's not just about your journey, but it's about everybody else's journey, and it's a bit of a partnership, isn't it?
Aye.
It's a receiving and a giving journey that
Mm.
you've been on. That's so amazing.
Absolutely.
Thinking, what then do you value the most? I know you've talked about this already, but if you can just in a nutshell say, what do you value the most about being a kaiwhakaora house? Like, what gets you out of bed each day to do
Mm.
mahi?
Yeah, lots of things. I think the fact that it's relational work,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's out and practicing in mental health and addictions or here at the university, it's always relational. And so I look forward to seeing my colleagues, seeing students, seeing and working alongside guest speakers, people in the field in terms of research. It's all about relationships, and I love that. Um, and the ako, the reciprocity of teaching and learning. So as you mentioned, it's not just about giving or taking, it's about mutual learning from each other. So I never stop learning from tauira, from the students that we're working alongside.
Yes.
A couple of weeks ago, we had our first course for lived experience workers, so people working in peer and consumer roles, and just learning, sitting and listening to in the classroom, learning from their stories of
Yeah.
recovery was just incredible. So yeah, I love our core, the mutuality and reciprocity of that.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, just I guess the opportunities to make a difference in terms of create or helping people reach their potential, so
Mm.
whether that's students or people involved with research, opening up opportunities for others
Yeah.
to step into the light and shine their light in the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, nice, nice. Thanks so much, Dan. One more question. As a kai whakaoranganga hau and a ahorangi tūhono, associate professor, is there one thing that you would like to say to our future undergraduates and graduates in general?
Mm. Um,
Might be too.
Well, I can say that having worked with new graduates for quite a while, for 15 years or so, with the new graduate program,
Mm,
they're amazing. They have so many strengths. Their values base is really, and they've got a lot of integrity and creativity and innovation. I just love seeing the ideas that come out of our new graduates. So my message would be just to be who you are, remember your roots as kai whakaora nanahau,
mm,
believe in the power of occupation, and don't lose sight of that
mm,
special
mm,
lens that we bring,
mm,
um, and make sure that we can not only work with individuals and whānau, but also systems and communities using that special lens.
mm,
Yeah,
mm.
so I guess don't get bogged down with the system or burnt out or
Yeah,
lose sight of
yeah,
what makes you special as a
yeah,
whakaora nanaho, an occupational therapist working in the field.
yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Ka pai te that, Dan. So that's the questions. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been great to kōrero with you and to hear some of your story, your personal and your professional story. And I also just wanted to acknowledge you and thank you for all that you do for the profession. I think we particularly chose you because you are a lovely, quiet man. But I've known you for a long time and you do a lot in the background and you have grown us so much and you have role modeled for us, both in the academic and the clinical and the growth space. So on behalf of Whakaoranganga profession, I'd really like to acknowledge you and thank you for that. So in closing, I'd just like to share whakatauki, which reminded of me when I was looking for one, reminded me of you actually. So mahia I runga I te rangi Mārie, me te ngā kao māhaki. With a peaceful mind and a respectful heart, we will always get the best results. And I think that's who you are. So nō
Kia
reira,
ora.
tēnā koutou katoa, kia ora.
Oh, thank you so much, Carolyn. That's very kind of you to say, and it's been lovely just to sit and reflect on
Beautiful.
where I've come from and where I am now, and it's an ongoing journey, and I'm looking forward to what's next.
Yeah, great, beautiful words. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, ka kite.
Ka kite anō.